Chapter 18, A Snitch in the System. It was a cold 6-9, drop everything and get to the barn right away. I was supervising my work crew on a trimming job when Big Todd called my cell phone and told me to get to Buckshot's place. Apparently, Terry the Tramp had just authorized the Hemet chapter to roll on the Sons of Hell in Lake Elsinore, and my work truck was needed to carry the war chest. Just when I was starting to think the gang war had been pushed to the back burner, the heat had suddenly been cranked up again. Here might be one last chance to nail the Vagos on a RICO, one final opportunity to put a stake through the heart of the operation that refused to die. I left the job site, hopped in my truck, and called John Carr on the road to Buckshot's place. He didn't pick up. Shit. I punched in the ATF field office and found myself talking to Special Agent Jeff Ryan. "Where's Carr? I need to talk to him, man. It's important." "Special Agent Carr is unavailable," said Jeff. "Where the hell is he?" "I don't know." "Well, what should I do?" "We're about to roll in the Sons of Hell." There was a brief pause before Jeff replied, "I'll call you back." Just minutes from Buckshot's property, I still hadn't received a return call from Special Agent Ryan, so I rang ATF on the Nextel again. This time, there was an anxious edge to Jeff's voice when he picked up the phone. "I can't get a hold of John," he said to me. "I'm trying to contact someone higher up." "There's no time for that, man. We're rolling at 7. What do you want me to do? You're asking me?" I couldn't believe it. Here was a golden opportunity to wrap up Operation 22 Green with a nice fat RICO bow. And my handler had gone missing. "Alright, man, here's the deal," I said after a long pause. "We're rolling at 7 o'clock for the highway bar in Lake Elsinore. We'll be coming in on Railroad Canyon Road. You got that? Railroad Canyon." Yeah, okay," replied the special agent. When I pulled into Buckshot's driveway, I found most of the Hammond boys already gathered, maybe 16 in all, which was just about the entire chapter at that time. Per Code 69 stipulations, they should have all been traveling incognito. But there were no dark shirts and pants, no change of clothes, no rubber gloves, and no private vehicles. Everyone was mounted on bikes and flying their colors. Everyone, that is, but our fearless leader. Once more, Big Roy Compton was commanding from the rear. 2 of the Vagos emerged from Buckshot's barn, hauling the chapter's war chest. They slid the arsenal into my truck bed. Big Todd climbed into the cab beside me, and the Green Army rolled with a burst of dirty thunder. I trailed the pack for 7 miles down Highway 74 before we turned off and headed in the direction of Lake Elsinore. The closer we came to the hideaway bar, the more nervous I got. John Carr was AWOL, and one of his recurring themes was to avoid trapping myself in felony situations. Yet here I was, driving a pickup loaded with illegal weapons on my way to commit felony assault. Just remember John's advice, I told myself. Don't lead the charge. Now I was praying for a miracle, that once we got to the bar, the law would be there to jump in at the last minute and stop the rumble before anyone got hurt. About a half mile out, a Riverside County Sheriff's Department cruiser went rushing past. Then came 2 more with lights flashing. Fuck, the cops are red lighting us. Now I'm crapping my pants. I've got a war chest filled with weapons in the truck bed behind me and 3 sheriff's deputies out front. 2 of those lawmen stepped from the cruisers and approached Slinger, our VP at the time, who owned a Chrysler dealership in Hemet. After talking with the cops, Slinger strolled back to my truck and spoke to me and Todd through the open window. "We're screwed. The cops said we should turn around. They know we're headed for the hideaway. They know what we're doing." The instant I heard that, my balls shriveled like pecans. How the fuck could they know that? Todd wanted to know. Later I found out the answer. Special Agent Ryan had called the ATF contact at Riverside County, who then rang their Lake Elsinore station for a heads up. Somewhere between ATF and Lake Elsinore, there was a monumental brain fart. What the cops should have done was intervene once they entered the hideaway bar, not made a goddamn traffic stop before we got there. Not only had this catastrophic blunder threatened the operation, but it had also put my life in serious jeopardy. "We've got a snitch," Tom fumed. "Maybe they saw us coming in. We've used spotters when we thought something was coming, right?" It was lame, but it was the best I could do on short notice. Believe it or not, the Hammond chapter was baffled by the bullshit for a couple weeks. But it wasn't long before their focus turned inward again, and the question on everyone's mind was, who's the rat? We've got a snitch in the system. It was our first church meeting since the traffic stop in Lake Elsinore, and you could feel the tension in JB's garage that night. As Big Roy scanned the faces of the guys he brought into the chapter, you knew he had to be thinking, which one of you fuckers is the one? Who's the snitch? I thought he was looking my way more often than the others, but that could have been my imagination. Someone's feeding law enforcement information, Roy continued, and I think it's coming from this chapter. So starting tonight, we're tightening security. I want all of you to take off your shirts and pants. We're doing a strip search before we start. A couple of the patches spoke up in protest, but Roy steamrolled in. I'm the fucking P of this club, motherfuckers. If something happens, it's gonna be going down on me, not you. So get the fuck out if you don't like it. The rest of you, everything off but the underwear. I was wired for sound that night. I was always wired on Wednesday nights when the church was held, anywhere but the house. I stripped down on my socks and boxers. Chopper and Big Todd came out with one of those security wands. I prayed it was the same worthless hunk of junk that had failed so miserably at my home a few months earlier. One by one, the ugliest mix of stripped down, steroid pumped, overweight, out of shape, hairy-assed men in recorded history shuffled forward for inspection. When it came my turn, all I could do was hold my breath. Todd ran the wand over my crotch. Nothing beeped. He ran it over the clothes I'd handed Chopper. Nothing beeped. Sue the manufacturer. I was all clear again. It took over an hour for the line to move through security, but all 16 of us passed with flying colors. After everyone was seated, Roy stood before the group and held up one of the local Riverside County newspapers. See this, he said, tapping the front page. There's a story in here about how the Vagos went looking for members of the Sons of Hell to get into a war. And if you read this fucking story, it's going to say everything we've been talking about in church. Roy rolled the paper and continued. So, here's the deal. From now on, we watch what we fucking say. Every one of you needs to assume that anytime you talk to someone face to face or on the phone, it's being recorded and will be used against us. So, new ground rules. From now on, we run this chapter from inside the room. Everything stays in-house. You got that? And nobody discusses club business on the phone or cell phone. Roy held up one of those throwaway cell phones. Get one of these instead. It's a virgin cell phone. I've got it under a fictitious name and a fake address. This is the phone I'll be using. But remember, I don't want anyone calling me about club business because it shows the structure. And that's what the feds want. If you have questions, ask them in church. He lifted the rolled newspaper and shook it at us. Listen up, motherfuckers. I'm not sure exactly what the fuck is going on around here, but I'm watching every one of you. If there's a rat in this chapter, I'm gonna find him, and I'm gonna fucking bury him. Was it my imagination again, or was Big Roy looking at me when he said that? The next time I saw Special Agent Jeff Ryan would be the last meetup until the takedown. We were meeting in the Little Lau parking lot so he could swap out my recording gear. As he was approaching, the agent had the hunched posture of a whipped dog. Listen, George, he said, I want you to know that when I called our contact at Riverside, I told him not to divulge any information. Somewhere along the line, we had a breakdown. Breakdown? Yeah, I'd say so, buddy. Because of someone's fuck up, the opportunity to nail the Boggles had been blown, and now I was under suspicion and getting strip searched. I almost felt bad for the poor bastard, but I've been this goddamn close to getting out from Operation 22 Green, and now Big Roy was too scared to move, and the Hemet chapter had gone underground. Hell, Roy was even forbidding us to wear our clothes around town. All the fallout didn't end with Hemet. At least 2 other operations being run through the Riverside Gang Task Force had also ground to a halt. It was dead calm out there, man. You could almost hear the crickets chirping. As weeks turned into months and Operation 22 Green continued to flounder, frustration was mounting. It cost hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars to run an undercover case, and John Carr's superiors needed to see results in order to justify the huge investment of money and man hours. My handler was starting to come under pressure to get things moving, and he, in turn, was laying that pressure on me. What the hell do you want me to do? I bitched. What the hell do you want me to do? I bitched at him over the phone. I don't know, George, but we need to do something. My supervisor's dogging me to pick up the pace. Well, then you tell your supervisor to get his ass down here and make something happen.